Alright, this is gonna be my video submission for ESA Corona Relief, and the category that I should submit for this game will be knife only. I think I'm gonna submit new game easy and knife only, but without further ado, let's just begin. And we're gonna talk about the category. So I'm just gonna be running against my PB splits, but I'm not gonna really. This is just for a good comparison between like RTA, PB, and how a no reset run of this for a marathon should be. Um, this category, uh, you beat the game with a knife, just with a knife, as the name implies, and it has some pretty tough spots. There are some potential deaths that shouldn't be too costly, and like they are kind of costly, but
Where are you going?
I think I think it's not like the end
Hey,
of the
wait!
world if you
Stop!
die. Like it's not. It's definitely not the end of the run for at least a marathon, for marathon purposes. You know. I'm going to play a little safe for this, so I'm gonna be behind by probably a few minutes here. My goal is to beat under 1 hour at least, 1 hour RCA. The estimate for this category should be 1 hour and 5 minutes, just in case like everything goes wrong, like just in case I die or something really bad happens, and also because I want to demonstrate a glitchy cutscene which takes like 30 seconds RTA. For the purposes of the in-game timer, it doesn't really matter. You're not actually losing time. Um, that's how we time the runs in Silent Hill. Most of the Silent Hill games, yeah, at least the first four games. So this is just a nightmare part. It's just like any percent. Um, I'm gonna submit any percent in a
What
separate
is
video.
this? What's going on here?
And right at the beginning of the game, we already have probably the most problematic fight, or one of the most problematic fights in the entire run. Is the air screamer fight. It's a flying enemy, but we have to kill it with the knife. So we're gonna have to do a very specific thing here. Before that, though, I'm gonna empty my handgun. This is required for this category. I'm gonna explain later. And for safety purposes, we're gonna take a couple extra health drinks, maybe more. All right, we empty our trick, and now we're gonna go to the air screamer fights. This fight should, like, it's supposed to be very easy on any other speedrun, but for knife only,
What's
this fight
that?
actually involves the hardest trick in the entire
Huh.
game, which is
Really?
a 2 frame trick.
What's going on with that
There are
radio?
two backups if I fail this trick. I am most likely gonna fail it, but I need to quick turn in a certain way to hit the air screamer and stun lock it, and that quick turn is a 2 frame trick. Yeah, that was actually close, but I didn't get it. So I'm gonna go for the backup strat, which is definitely slower, but there we go. So yeah, that's the backup strat. We lure the air screamer away and go back to the radio in a certain position and kill the air screamer like that. I still went for the 2 frame trick because like it's so much faster. And it's just taking a hit if you fail, it's no big deal. But yeah, in case the backup fails, there's a secondary backup which is even more consistent. So there are three strats that you can do in that fight. The first one's a 2 frame trick. You have a 2 frame window to quick turn, so you can kill the air screamer in place, and that's usually like the biggest reset points in the run because if you don't get it, for record purposes, you're resetting because you're losing like 10 seconds. But oh, come on, Harry. But in that case, we can just go to the backup, and then there's a backup of the backup if it fails. and you can just keep trying the backup of the backup. It's much easier. So I know all those strats. In case one goes wrong, there's another one. Um, and you take both health drinks because in case things go like worst case scenario, you can still heal back to full health twice. So it's very rare to die there, but that's what I would like to call one of the most problematic fights in the game. Uh, there's only 3 fights in this run, and we're only going to kill 4 enemies. We're going to kill 2 we have killed the first air screamer. We're going to kill 2 bosses, and we're going to kill an enemy that's gonna be on our way, and that's it. But we're gonna talk about those later. But for record purposes, you would reset right there in the air screamer fights if you can get that 2-frame trick. I have the current world record for this is a 35:18, as you can see in my splits right there. And I am timing with RTA just to have a general notion of my run, of my splits. You know, it's not exactly accurate because you very often have load variance in this game, even from run to run, from platform to platform. So RTA is not really something you can rely on too heavily. There are multiple cases of times where like the RTA shows -10, and you have not even PB'd, or you have PB by like a second, or maybe you're behind because you got faster loads. But I don't know. It's just a thing in this game. You learn to not really rely on it. So yeah, that's just how it is. This first beginning of the game is like really straightforward. You just pick up the keys and then check this paper, and then there's like a house here where you just go through the door. Like usually in a casual playthrough, you'll first go to this house and only then like, oh, there are 3 keys around the world, but the keys have already spawned before you even do this, so it's pretty chill. Alright, we're gonna go to the school, and the school's kind of a problematic part. There are a lot of enemies. The recurring enemy in this school was called Mumbler. And that little monster is the one that we saw in the nightmare, actually. It has two attacks, one a grab attack and one knife attack. They're also doing knife only. So, you don't want to see the grab attack. The knife attack doesn't have a huge range. It can potentially hit you at times, but it's rare. Now the grab attack has a much bigger range, and if you get grabbed, you lose like 2 to 3 seconds, which is not really what you want to see. You're also losing health, and for this category is pretty significant. Your health, definitely more than any percent. In any percent, you're not caring about your health at all. You're not even taking health drinks ever. For this category, like for record purposes, you still take 1 healing item, even if you're going for a record. Now, the world record in this category is really not that optimized, I must say. Is my 35:18. I think I have already said that, sorry. But in any case, there's a fight where you are practically required to actually have an ample, which is gonna give you a huge boost in health. But oh, that's really bad. I messed up big time there. And that's the grab attack. I only got grabbed there because I really messed up. That never happens. But we're doing no reset, so everything can happen in a no reset run. And yeah, like this first part of the school is where a lot of runs come to die. Any runner in the game, really. This is like because of those kids and because of their kind of random behavior in some parts, and because your movement has to be so specific for you to get through those enemies unscathed most of the times. A lot of runs die here. People say that the school is one of the hardest parts in the game. Um, for most people, it might be. It's pretty tough dodging those enemies. And what we're doing here is just you have to take two medallions here. The first one's the gold medallion. This one that we solved a small puzzle. The second one, though. Oh, there you go. That's the move. That's the way you want to do that movement. And you shouldn't get grabbed by this kid like a big portion, big portion of the times. A lot of the times you still get grabbed because RNG. But yeah, the second one, the silver medallion, is actually much harder because we have to solve the piano puzzle. But I know the solution. Oh, okay. Maybe not. Sometimes we mess up because we're trying to go fast, right? Like I did. It's quite common. You can just input the key combination again from the start. It's no big deal. Damn. Alright, dodging more kids. And this piano puzzle is like probably one of the hardest or the hardest puzzles in the entire franchise. I did a strat here that I should not do. I should not do on the marathon. I did it kind of automatically. This is kind of the YOLO strat with my setup. And as you can see, it's not 100% consistent. But next time I'm gonna do one strat that is 100% consistent, and that's what I would play. That's what I would do in marathons, or in no reset runs because it doesn't lose you too much time. But as you put the silver medallion in the clock tower after the piano puzzle was down, and after you picked it up, you go down here and activate the boiler. So I'm gonna go through that part where I got grabbed for the second time again here. And this thread involves walking one step with the light on, turn off the lights, and go to the right, and you will never get grabbed. And there you go. You're in the clock tower, and we're going to the Otherworld School. Because if you thought the game couldn't get scarier, it will. But the Otherworld School is pretty straightforward for the most part. Ironically enough, even though it's considered to be, I don't know, from a gameplay's perspective, the next level, kinda, where like the world is worse and it's scarier, it's creepier. But ironically enough, in the speedrun, it's much. Oh, okay. Here's a grab that never happens. Well, sometimes it does happen. I guess I didn't. I wasn't too. I wasn't to the left like enough. Here's where you would pick the shotgun, like in that bathroom over there. That door is a bathroom with the blood on the floor. But we're doing knife only, so we're skipping that. And we're gonna skip everything, really. This can be considered kind of the low percent category in the game. Kinda. Not really, but you're not picking up weapons and ammo, so kinda is. We pick up this rubber ball just to do a next puzzle. So the objective here is to pick up two keys that are going to unlock the way to the first boss. And I think it's about time to start talking about the first boss. The first boss of this game is called Splithead, and this is the most problematic fight. And I said the same thing about the Ice Screamer, but Splithead definitely takes the cake. Because he can insta-kill me, and he can insta-kill everyone, really. That boss has an insta-kill. Whenever he swallows Harry, you die. And usually you would have the shotgun, or at least the handgun, and you can just shot and keep your distance from his mouth, right? The intended way to fight this is just to shoot him with the shotgun. That's what he would do in New Game Easy. He would shoot him with the shotgun 3 times, and then inside his mouth twice, and then he's dead. The reason for that is because you essentially deal critical damage whenever you're shooting inside his mouth. Oh, come on. I messed up there. No big deal. But since we only have the knife to do that, and we have to fight him with the knife, we have to actually expose ourselves to the quick kill while stabbing him inside the mouth while the boss is trying to swallow me, and we have to do that 20 times or more. It's probably more than 20 times. It is around 20. I've never actually counted, but I know it's around 20. So that's a pretty risky fight, actually. It can be a little shaky if you are trying to go for no reset. If you get a bad fights, if you're really grinding for a record, you just reset. But if you want to perform that in a marathon, you have to play safe, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna take any. Well, I'm not gonna take any risks really. But just by fighting him with the knife, you're already taking a huge risk. If you die to split head, you're losing a lot of time. Like, you're losing 2 minutes, and that's why I would like to put my estimates on 1 hour and 5 minutes. If I don't die though, the run should be 1 hour long or less. So it's like a comfortable estimate, considering that I could potentially die a split head more than once. But I'm probably not gonna die. I know all the shenanigans of that fight. There are a few things that you have to look out for, a few ways that he can like surprise you and kill you, like stun you and kill you. But I know all of them. I have fought this guy a bunch of times with the knife, and I don't think I'm gonna die. Like, the only times I've been dying to split head lately is because I YOLO really hard. And for one, I don't take health drinks in the first phase. I can actually die in the first phase as well. Not if you heal, but for one, I don't do that. And for second, oh, by the way, we're gonna take the ample here. For not for split head, for the next boss. So I'm gonna go to this storage room. It's just a small detour to take an ample. And this room's actually one of the hardest rooms in the game. I know that movement very well. This is really good movement. I didn't do that in PB pace runs. Anyway. Just do this puzzle. Every puzzle in this game is the same thing every time. It's not RNG like Silent 2 and 3. There's no randomness in puzzles. I don't think I'm gonna go with this now. And yeah, this fight's pretty complicated. I would like to kind of remain in silence for this fight, but you only die to split head if you are experienced, like if you YOLO too much. And yeah, you should never die to him if you know what you're doing. Like, I'm taking some damage here every time I get knocked by him. Wow, I never get first phases like this when I need. This is such a good first phase. Let me just heal. I didn't even need to, but well. Wow, this is such a good first phase. Oh my god. So here's the second phase. It's gonna try to swallow me. So I go in and go out. You stab him once and you repeat it like 20 times. And he's gonna die. So yeah, keep this. I always keep it silent here. Oh, okay. I'm getting a good second phase as well. But there's a lot of RNG in this fight when it comes to the second phase, especially. You can do certain animations that can cost you a lot of time for nothing, really. But the only way you can really die is if he stuns you and you don't react properly, or if you run out of space, which kind of, you know, happens to me sometimes because I'm like YOLOing it really hard, but I'm not gonna do that here. But you can run out of space if you don't pay attention, or if you just are trying hard in this game. Or if it knocks you like that, that's like a problem thing, because Harry's gonna be stunned for a second. There's no enough time. If you try to stab him and get out, you don't have time to get out. So you can potentially die with that. This is a really good first phase. I never get those kind of fights in my... I don't think this is gonna gold split, especially because I healed, but... No. I never get that fight when I'm grinding. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Like, execution-wise is not too hard. The worst thing that can happen here is, like, an input drop, but it's very rare. I don't think I've ever actually gotten an input drop in this fight. But input drops are a thing in this game. I have lost so many runs to him. Pretty chill. Oh, okay, so this is the thing that I was talking about. Carry gets stunned, so you just leave. Like that as well. So yeah, playing really safe, really chill. Should be dead very soon. Come on. Drooling animation is in time. Nope. We got knocked. No, just do it kind of nice and easy, and there you go. He's dead. It turns out that the fight wasn't as good as I thought. I didn't really have to heal. That's the thing. Like, taking the health drinks in the cafe for me is really optional, but like, you're really not. Like, some people would even do that on New Game Easy, which, you know, it's a category that you're never gonna need them. But yeah, even for this category is optional, but I'm always taking them on marathons. Not in New Game Easy though. In New Game Easy, I'm extremely confident that I don't need any health drinks. You really don't. I'm going to submit New Game Easy separately. New Game Easy, by the way, is any percent. It's the main category of the game. So I'm gonna submit that separately. But this category is something that I really want to show. Silent Hill has been... First off, Silent Hill 2 and 3 have been on ESA together just, what, like a couple weeks ago? You know, from the recording of this video, of course. Silent Hill 1 has been in several GDQs and ESAs and marathons. It's always a well-received game. It has been run by very experienced runners, like Punchy has run this multiple times even. But one thing is that the new out of bounds trick, which is not really new, it's been 2 years. Hasn't... I think it has been shown in marathons, but this category definitely hasn't. Nobody has ever done this category in a marathon before. Oh my god. Like, people have done UFO, 80%, maybe even Good Plus. But this category is something new, something really fresh. I think it would be really nice to showcase something completely different for this game. If you really want to have this game in your marathon. This category would be definitely something that would attract some attention. You could even do something like you could even have an incentive to upgrade from any percent to knife only. Because I have actually done this category in a marathon. Like, it has never been showcased in an international marathon, but it has been showcased for the first time ever in a Brazilian marathon that I have participated recently. And they've done that. Knife only was actually an incentive. I was going to run Good Plus, but then, like, for a certain quantity, people could donate to upgrade the category, upgrade quote unquote, to change it to knife only. So instead of doing it normally, I would do it just with the knife, and that's kind of funny because knife only doesn't do the good plus ending. Um, so that was like running a category that doesn't really exist. But all right, oh come on, Harry. This room here, by the way, is the hardest room of the game. Oh my god, like this room. I got it right. I messed up like the easy thing and got right the very hard thing. This room's actually very hard to nail it properly for a few reasons. The smaller rooms in this game are always the harder rooms, believe it or not. It's something that takes you only a second or two, but it's the difference between like not saving time or I don't know, losing 3 to 4 seconds or more if it goes really badly. But you know, reaching that control panel from one go, like running without walking, yeah, it's a very obscure thing. A lot of the things that we're doing in this game are very obscure. A lot of the things that make good runs what they really are in this game are very obscure. So this game, I must admit that it doesn't really look impressive if you compare it to other speed games, and it's not really that hard. It's a pretty easy speed game, really. I recommend to people who want to get into speedrunning because it's very easy to learn if you know the game. But what separates the top tier runners from the rest is just like very specific movement, obscure things, and that's the truth for every game, every speedrun really. That's mostly based in movement, especially. Excuse me. But the rest of the game up until the next boss is gonna play out the same thing as any percent, pretty much. Pretty much. Oh my god, I spaced out. I forgot where to go. Wow. Forgot which room I was for a second. Anyway, we're just gonna take the red liquid here. This is very important, or else we cannot do a certain trick in the game. I think even if you couldn't do that trick, save and Sybil should still be faster. Who knows? I think save and Sybil's faster than killing her, regardless. But we're gonna do a certain glitch that's gonna skip the entire fight in the entire amusement park. I'm gonna explain that later. Hospital is pretty straightforward. The things that can go wrong in the hospital are basically RNG, enemies that you cannot really dodge, blocking your way, and there's not much you can do about when they actually do. And there's a certain trick. Well, that's only on 90% actually. Nurse skip is only on 90%, but yeah, there's a certain enemy that can that you can bypass in a spots, but that's only for 90%. And this you have to kill it normally. This is gonna be the third enemy that we're gonna kill in the game. It's gonna be on our way, and there's no reason to push her. It's much slower. You have to go ahead and kill her. Here in the hospital, the first parts is pick up those plates, and there are 4 of them. We're also gonna pick up the blood pack here in this room. Required to pick up one of the plates, so it's all around the first puzzle. Oh, this blue nurse here can block me, but she didn't do there. She can also grab me on the way out of this room here. It's a terrible meme. Oh, damn. Terrible meme when it happens. Like, you're losing 2-3 seconds for free. Sucks. So we're just going and picking up the plates to solve the first and only puzzle in the hospital, really. Oh my god. What? Wait, what? What's going on? I got stuck there. What the hell? Oh, terrible movement, man. And this doctor here, we're gonna have to go to his right because we need to open the door like next to him by the end of the hospital. That doctor is just horrible. I've lost runs to him like so many times. Because sometimes he's gonna be in a very unfavorable position. He can block you for days. It's terrible. Picking up a lighter, and now we're gonna use this item here. This like hitbox for this item is gigantic. I've only done one step from the door, and you can already use it. You can only like you can move forward for a frame, and you can already use it. If you don't move forward though, you can. So that's the funny thing. But you can use from like pretty much the entire room, and you'll be able to do that. Once again, the puzzles are always the same every time, so it's pretty chill. Allows you to space out and, you know, forget what's happening here, forget where you are. You should be able to do this puzzle no problem. I've actually done that like 1 or 2 times, like forgotten though this solution, because you're kind of doing it in the muscle memory. This is the spot, by the way. Oh damn! This is the spot, by the way, where you would do the nurse skip. But it's not really. Damn! It's not really usable in knife only. It's not doable in knife only. The nurse skip. Oh, what's going on, Harry? So there you go. And that puzzle is down. I can get potentially blocked here. No, okay, we're good. You don't really have to turn off the lights, by the way. I've seen a few runners do that, but it doesn't really do anything there. Turning off the lights doesn't help you at all. If you get blocked, you do get blocked. Like the most important thing there is your movement. Go fast. Pushing the cabinet. And we're gonna go to the secret basement after doing this. All we have to do here is equip an item. Oh no, sorry, not equip. Get a key item to unlock the door where Lisa is, and that's gonna be the end of the hospital. So we're gonna go to the creepy basement just to get that item. That's the whole purpose of this. Besides like being creepy and a couple other things. Like we can take you can pick up the VHS tape in one of those rooms here.
What's this?
So there's a key. Very important. Do not look at Alyssa's portraits. It's not fun. Not fun losing time to that. And dodging those enemies, and that's it. That's pretty easy. The hospital is easier than the school, like for the most part. The things that can really go wrong are like some pieces of movement and RNG on the enemies. Speaking of which, like we have the doctor that I spoken about earlier. This little guy here looks like he's behaving. Yeah, I just messed up pretty badly here. Yeah, I'm losing a lot of time everywhere. This is not like really a great run, but it's alright. It's all good.
Was I dreaming?
What the hell? My controller just vibrated so much. Don't know why. Yeah, your controller vibrates like with your health, so the lower your health, the more wildly it vibrates. It's a mechanic of the game. It's a really cool mechanic to indicate how low on health you are. That's pretty useful on speedruns, and it's very preferable that you speedrun with an original DualShock 2. If you don't, if you use a third-party controller, it doesn't emulate the vibration properly, especially on that mechanic. It's not like the DualShock 2, and the DualShock 2 is just better, or a DualShock 1 rather. Like if you're playing on the actual original hardware, PS1. Anyway, um, here we've got the most infamous trick in the game. The out of bounds is the one and only out of bounds in the entire game. This is where all good runs come to die for every single category in this game except 10 star, but we don't talk about 10 star. Let us not talk about 10 star. Anyway, this trick involves getting damage boost by a romper doing a scenario transition, and that's gonna eliminate Harry's collision, allowing us to go through the walls. And conveniently, if you go forward from like the door, so if you go through the door and just go forward without turning, you fall right on top of the roof where you fight Float Singer. You don't really fight Float Singer right there, but that makes it so you can skip the entirety of the mall. You skip the twin filler fight, which is the larva worm boss, and that makes knife only possible because you cannot kill twin filler with the knife. Harry doesn't hit it with the knife. So this is it. So I don't think I got it. Yeah, I don't think I got it first try. It's no big deal. Right now I'm using like a earphone that makes it there I got it. Second try is alright. Not for PB attempts. Like for PB attempts you need to get it first try on high level. But it's really no big deal if you get a second or third try. I am pretty good with this trick, but I use an audio cue for it. And I'm using earphones that are pretty quiet, so it's hard for me to hear the romper's footsteps. So there you go, we're in the roof and we can just go straight to the hospital. We just skipped like over a minute of the entire game. Well, of this section. There you go, a minute was saved. And we can just go and talk to Lisa, and that's gonna trigger... That's gonna open the way to the Float Stinger fight, which is a terrible fight on knife only. Float Stinger is very easy on any other category, even if you're playing on hard difficulty, where Float Stinger is so much more aggressive. But on knife only, Float Stinger is just absolutely terrible. I'm trying to develop a strat that is at the same time safe and faster, and I think I've came up with something here. But this fight's terrible. So I'm gonna do something here that's gonna... It's hard to explain. So in other categories I would... Let me just heal here, because I am in danger. So that's why we have the ampoule, by the way. The ampoule gives me health regen for 5 minutes on top of healing me back to full health. This is the strat that I am trying to develop here. So that's why you pick up. You do pick up for this fight. Maybe you can potentially like not even need the ampoule. I'm gonna do more testing on this. I'm trying to fight Float Stinger in a very specific way. Float Stinger has damage reduction, so in other categories you will never spam shots because you're actually killing it lower by spamming shots. But the knife already deals so little damage that you can just... that spamming the knife is better than actually taking your time. But the thing is that the knife deals less damage the less it hits the enemy hitbox, and I'm trying to make Float Stinger like lure it away from the edge while like trying to constantly hit it at the same time. This is not working out. I mean, it's not like absolutely terrible. I'm just trying to come up with like a strat that would be really good, really fast. I'll develop something here. Like, in the meantime, this is something that makes it so I don't take too many hits first, for one. So this is something that I will use in the marathon. It's not like that slower, and it's supposed to be faster, because whenever Float Stinger is off the edge, you're actually dealing more damage to it. Whenever Float Singer is on the edge, you're not hitting its hitbox properly with the knife. You're hitting a small part of it. So if you try to constantly hit Float Singer while it's on the edge, not only are you going to get constantly hit, oh my god, that was loud. Not only are you gonna get constantly hit, like here, but you're dealing less damage because you're hitting its hitbox less and less, and sometimes you're hitting it only once. But that fight didn't went well at all. I am definitely not happy with the way it went. I'm just gonna finish it here because it's right at the end of the fight right now. Should take just a few more hits. There you go. This is not really what you want for Float Singer, but it's something around that strat. I'm still developing that strat. I still need to practice more. But yeah, the purpose of that is the main purpose of that is actually to be faster. But since you're turning around and the Ample's health regen's good enough for that, your odds of dying are 0, especially if you have like 1 or 2 health drinks to spare besides the Ample, which I will definitely have for this fight. Safety first. I'm not too happy because it didn't go like as well as it's supposed to be, but it's okay. So yeah, there are a few things that you can do in that fight. You can go back and forth, which is what I was doing, but it's not really good. You can hit it constantly while you're on the edge of the platform of the arena, but that's not good either. So yeah, what I'm trying to do is that so you can constantly hit Float Singer while you don't get hit, while you're hitting like its hitbox completely or properly. You're dealing more damage because if it's in the edge, your knife attack is not hitting the entire hitbox or not hitting as much as it could. That's the explanation that I can come up with after like actually testing on tasks and checking damage values and that kind of thing. I don't know if it's moved. Yeah, I didn't move. Yeah, I'm gonna switch like headphones very soon. Those headphones are like cheap $5 headphones. I'm gonna switch to like decent earphones. I had earphones for I had earphones to play this game, but they broke. They died pretty much. So I cannot use them anymore. So I'm using those backup ones, which are not really good. I can still play the game, but I cannot get certain audio cues as well, and my place is a little bit too noisy sometimes, so that doesn't really help. Yeah, here we heard the sewers, everyone's favorite part of the run, right? What? Okay, Harry decided to stop running for no reason. Okay, we actually got... What? That was weird? Like, he went forward in a way that I've never really seen before. That's funny. That's like a very, very weird pattern that's like incredibly rare. I've never seen him doing that. That's a first. Like, he can do several things there. Most of the times you just block you and you just lose time and take the hit. Sometimes you would do the god pattern, which is completely out of your way because it pre-aggroed. Or sometimes he would not aggro at all, so you do the movement slightly differently. All of those are the way you're gonna move there is determined by if you move its footsteps, if you hear his footsteps or not. Serious, like there's a few audio cues that you need to take, like in the for a few dodges there. For the first, definitely, and for that one. But yeah, sewers are like very, very straightforward if you know where to go and if you know what you're doing. If you're trying to learn the speedrun, it can be pretty confusing at first. And if you're playing casually, it's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So confusing. Everything looks the same. There's no points of reference. The map doesn't help you at all. It's just so bad. I know it's supposed to like not give you all the cards, right? But yeah, it's not great. That's the funny thing about this game. You never have all the cards when it comes to gameplay mechanics. When it comes to the story, it's very hard to grasp. That's why like this game is so misunderstood for so long. I'm saving time. I guess my PB supers are pretty terrible. Well, I didn't get actually hit by like that guy because he did that weird pattern. So yeah. All right. So we're in the resort area. We've come all the way here because Lisa told. No, Lisa told that we could go through the sewer, and Sybil told us that Cheryl was heading towards the lake, walking on thin air. How did she do that? Oh wait, we done that as well with the out of bounds. It's so funny that I turned off the lights there to not aggro the romper. By the way, I completely forgot to explain that, but yeah, flashlight mechanics are pretty helpful in this game. You need to turn off your lights a few of the times. I'm explaining this like 4 to 6 minutes into the run after I've done all the flashlight shenanigans. But there's gonna be a few more here. It's so funny how like Sybil mentions Cheryl walking on thin air, like just a cutscene before you can actually go out of bounds and do the same thing, like walk on thin air. It's such a funny coincidence. Because that's essentially what you're doing there. You are, in the out of bounds, you're essentially warping to the other side of the map while walking on the void. Turn off the lights here so the air screamer won't bother you. This guy not really called air screamer anymore. The other world variant's called night flutter, but nobody cares. I'm gonna have to walk here, which I don't like. I messed up my movement. So yeah, there's gonna be a few there's gonna be a cutscene here. We're gonna go to the lighthouse, and then we're gonna go to the amusement park. And this part of the lighthouse is pretty bad. The frame rate is the worst. You can get memed here as well on this stairs, what we call the top of the stairs. I don't recommend it. It's not fun. This guy is okay. He's behaving, but sometimes he can actually jump on you and end your day pretty much. It's terrible. Okay. I'm gonna walk here and turn off my lights, which is not really what I want to do, but yeah, okay. On, very good. Look at the frame rate there. That's pretty much single digits, and here as well. And contrary to popular belief, this is not the game pushing the PS1 or the PS2 to its limits. The game is just not really optimized. Not too well optimized, especially the late game areas. Here's a fun sequence to speedrun. Here we have to actually walk a little bit here, so we can continue properly. If you don't walk there, it's like much slower. And you don't. And the best way to do is walking only one time, like a couple steps. But here, descending, we have to walk twice. Once here, so we can reposition Harry, and another time here, so we can reposition Harry again. That makes it so we don't hit the face on the wall, because otherwise you hit the face on the wall, and also it's much slower to run all the way. To strafe is also slower. That's the actual optimal way. You have to walk a little bit. Like walking not a surprise, but should always be avoided in a speed run, but not for this game. Sometimes walking is the only possible, not the only possible way, but it's the fastest way. So very few times, very few times. Most of the times running is still faster. Even if you're running into a wall, it's still faster sometimes. Like, so we're pretty much at the late game here. Um, we're gonna check on Sybil. Sybil hasn't come back, so let's see what Sybil is all about. And once again, we have the sewers. The sewers 2 are much more straightforward than the sewers 1. It's very easy. There's a 1 in a thousand, 1 in a 3-4,000 chance that something weird's gonna happen at the end of it. I got blocked by that lizard as well. That's a pretty bad meme. I hate when that happens, because usually if you got to this part of the game, what are you doing? That's weird. Okay, if you got to this part of the game, you usually got a you're usually in a good pace. It's either a dead run or a good pace. So yeah, there's a 1 in a thousand more plus possibility that there will be 2 enemies instead of 1 right at the end there. Sometimes there's no enemies. Claw fingers. And here we're gonna use the unknown liquid on this creature called the larval stalker. And oh yeah, we split. And here I'm gonna let this cutscene play. This cutscene, everyone always lets it play on marathons, and I'm pretty sure you can see why it's amazing. By using the unknown liquid on the larval stalker, this creature that we're taking a good look at, essentially, like, you are allowed to do that somehow. That skips the entire fight, throws you back at the end of the fight cutscene, glitches it, replaces the Sybil model with the larval stalker. It's a giant mess, and there is a potential game crash here. It's like very rare. I've never had that happen. But if that happens, I obviously have a safety save right after this fight, right in the next room. After skipping a few cutscenes, they were like teleported to nowhere. Like, you're literally teleported to nowhere. Like, the game, even in the context of the game. So there's a save on the table, just in case. And nowhere is known as Choke City among the runners of this game, and in my opinion, nowhere is the hardest part of the run. A lot of people would say it's the school, but nowhere is very hard because it has some puzzles that can go wrong. You're usually nervous if you got here in a like PB pace run or record pace run. Like, the nerves definitely don't help. It can be pretty punishing. It can be pretty punishing if you mess up a puzzle. And there's like the hardest dodge in the game as well at the end of it. Nowhere is just a recollection of it's a recollection of many places in the game. As you can see right at the beginning there, I went from like a hospital corridor to school, a classroom. What am I doing? I don't know where I'm going. But here's just it consists of multiple areas of the game put together into a single nonsensical area, like nonsensical from like a physical and logical point of view. From the game's perspective, it makes sense. And this is the first puzzle to get the Stone of Time. It's the Zodiac puzzle. And this is the alert puzzle. You have to type alert here. All the puzzles are always the same. The Zodiac puzzle, all you have to do is input the number of legs and arms that each of the pictures have. It has nothing to do with actual Zodiac. A lot of people like get stuck in that puzzle because they're overthinking the puzzle. It's just kind of funny. It's simpler than it looks. And here's the last time we're gonna see Lisa. Bye, Lisa. Fuse Batman. So I'm gonna put the Stone of Time here. Add this clock to get another key. And basically nowhere we're getting 5 key items that represent religions. The first one's the Amulet of Solomon, as it's called in the game, and there are 4 more. And those 5 items, when you put them in the final door, unlocks the final door and the way to the final boss. This is the hardest puzzle of Nowhere. It's a little bit more complicated than the other ones when it comes to inputs. That went really well. That's like as good as it can be. I'm just gonna say. Very good room. Oh, it's going pretty well so far. Well, except for the fact that I messed up the... I forgot what it was again. This nurse here, we usually kill on New Game Easy, but it's actually faster to just push her. There you go. You don't want to hit her because she can like get into a animation where you, if you're going to kill her, is actually slower, and if you like start hitting her, she can get into this animation where you cannot possibly push her anymore, and that kind of, it's not good. But if you are constantly running like towards her, just pushing her, and it's much faster. Now the enemies of Nowhere that were the nurses, they're gonna be replaced with the stalkers, which are essentially the school like monsters, but with the larval stalker texture, makes them like translucent or whatever, almost invisible. You have to put the Ring of Contract here. So this game has 2 insta kills. First one's Split Head. The second one is this one. You really don't wanna leave the room without putting the Ring of Contract here. The Dagger of Melchior that we picked up there in the fridge. That was the second. No, that was the third, and we did pick up another one before that. And we have another key. Picking up keys to open doors, to pick up keys to open doors. That's Nowhere in a nutshell. In this game in a nutshell, if you think about it. So there's the ink. Second to last one. There's only one left. And I'm gonna turn off the generator because there's a key on some it's stuck to some electrical wires. And here's like the hardest dodge in the game. I have a setup for it. It's pretty good. This is the best setup of this dodge by far. Like, it's the best strategy. You could potentially YOLO that to save a few frames, but I don't think it's worth it, really. In my opinion. I'm losing so much time. Wow. Why? Oh, of course, because I let the cutscene play, yeah. Losing a lot of RTA because of that. So we picked up the final key, and now we're gonna pick up the final item. And here's time to explain a thing that I didn't explain for the entirety of the game. Why did I empty my gun at the beginning of the game? Well, I'm not really gonna explain now. I'm just gonna show to you guys. So this is the final door. Just put all of the items there. You can see that my health was still full. My health is still full because of the ampoule. Like, it kept regenerating health even after the float stinger fights. So no more healing is needed whatsoever because we're playing on easy. Even if you were playing on other difficulties. And here's the final boss. Um, this boss is gonna die on its own. I'm gonna leave. I will leave it so like I'll leave it. Oh, that's not what you want. Okay, I'm just gonna take it. Just gonna take the lightning. But after the second wave of lightnings, you can just wait and it's gonna die. Now I'm gonna dodge. All I have to do is run around, really. You cannot hit it with a knife, there's a barrier around it. So, there you go. That's Silent Hill with the knife only. Sub 1 hour by 0.7. That's good, that's good.
Daddy. Cheryl.
So yeah, that's why the estimate should be 1 hour and 5 minutes. And the reason why both of the final boss of this game die if you don't have bullets, by the way, or if you have the bullets but don't have the weapon.
Be.
Oh, okay.
Can't leave like this.
Is because the developers of this game actually put a fail-safe in case you come to the final bosses, which cannot get killed by melee weapons, and so if you run out of bullets, the boss dies after a while. All you have to do is survive. That's like a soft lock fail, so players wouldn't soft lock. That fail was very well done. Even if you have bullets but don't have the weapon, the end of the fight still triggers after the same amount of time. So that's something intended actually in the game. That's the reason why we empty the gun right there at the beginning of the game, right in the cafe. So yeah, that's this category. I've been investing quite a few runs into this category. I'd like to get a 34 soon. I think it would be really cool to showcase this run on ESA for Corona Relief. I would be honored to be part of it. And this is something that has never really done in any events of the size of ESA. So it would be amazing to showcase this, and this game is really good. This game is actually a good speed game, and it's gonna be my pleasure to be able to showcase this really amazing run there. I'm going to submit any percent as well. I'm gonna do it in a separate video. But I think this is something that would actually stand out a little bit as a run that people would want to watch, rather than any percent, which is something that was done quite a few times before. This is something new. This is something unique, and I think it would fit very well in the marathon. So, yeah, those are the reasons why I would love to see this. You can actually skip the credits, and I just like the sound. Anyway, I like to take a look at my IGT here. This should be like a 37. I beat Silent Hill. All I've got was a slap to the face. And yeah, we did the bad ending. Bad plus for this because it's faster. Fastest ending. You can do the good plus as well. You can still do it with a knife. Alright, skip the bloopers. 37:20. That's pretty good. That's 2 minutes from my world record, but it's all good. Yeah, anyway. Thank you for watching. If you watch all the way through here. And I'm gonna keep doing my best to optimize this category a little bit further. I would love to see this in ESA. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.